So that would be Hopi rattlesnake number 2. It's a Gila. There's a Gila monster right here. Is a Sonoran lyre snake. We've got a second alligator lizard. He's missing the little end part of his tail there. We found ourselves Crotalus tigris. That's Mojave number 2, only like 5 minutes later. So as of right now, this is officially the furthest north I've so far seen a diamondback. Good afternoon, everybody. We are coming to you currently from the north central plains of New Mexico as we drive towards Arizona. The original plan for this month for heading down to Texas was thrown for a loop thanks to some really stupid permit system issues that they've got going on down there right now. So we're switching things up a little bit. So tonight we are heading towards kind of the northeast plains of Arizona. See if we can't find another Hopi rattlesnake to add to the list. Maybe a cow king, a few other cool animals that live out there as well. So fingers crossed, we'll see what shows up. So on this day, I headed out early specifically with the intention of wanting to visit the Petrified Forest National Park. A beautiful area encompasses part of the Painted Desert and of course the famous Petrified Forest in northern Arizona. We were greeted by the local ravens and took some time looking around at the amazing scenery in this area. It's home to a lot of cool reptiles, of course, but a lot of those don't become active until later at night, so we spent a little time during the day looking at the sights. This is also an area that is rich in human history. People have lived here for well over 10,000 years at this point, and there are petroglyphs that are within the park that are dating back to at least several hundred, if not a couple thousand years. These are a bit distant at this point. You can't walk down to them for good reason, because people would destroy them when they were allowed to walk down there, but you can view them from the platforms that they have along the roads. Ironically, the other side of the park has what they reference as the Painted Desert. But this side of the park, you can come down within and see the layers so incredibly clearly. If you come out to Petrified Forest, you can't visit without seeing some of the petrified wood that's out here. And one of the cooler ones that you can walk up just to the edge of is the Agate Bridge. And it's a good thing they have this sign here, because you know people would be constantly walking across this petrified log here. It's currently supported by concrete underneath, but even that won't last much longer than the petrified tree will. Supposedly where I'm standing is actually on top of a portion of it. And it's a total of 117 feet. The first major stand of petrified wood that you get to see as you go into the park, and the first one that people were ever able to actually publicly access, is viewable from the top of a little plateau that looks down along the slope, where a lot of this wood has actually eroded out of the side of the hills. Unfortunately, not everyone there is there to just look at the rocks. Also, just a quick reminder, if you visit the Petrified Forest, it is illegal to pick up the rocks and the actual petrified wood out here. So they remind you of that when you enter the park. There's signs everywhere that remind you of that. So if you're like the lady that I just saw, who's poking around, picking up rocks, hoping nobody's seeing her and putting them in her pocket, and I hope it comes back to bite you. Seriously, if everybody who went there just went around picking up the stones willy-nilly and didn't leave it behind for everyone else to see, eventually all of the interesting rocks would be gone from the easily accessible areas, and people who maybe can't backpack out into the wilderness wouldn't get to see it anymore. There are shops on either end of the road to buy stuff from. Do it there. Get your rocks from that place, not in the park. Just go into the park and enjoy the sights where they are. There are any number of trails out here that you can take in the park, and a lot of them will take you right up to and past Petrified Forest. There's chunks of tree that were buried and fossilized some 200-something million years ago. The colors within are incredible. Like, there's no way the camera is gonna pick it up. But there's pinks and purples, oranges, rusty colors, pure white, and of course you can see the ancient rings too. And just as pretty, there's lichen growing on some of these that is this most electric chartreuse color. Quite impressive. And it gives you a really good idea just how cataclysmic the event had to be to do this, because it knocked over, completely buried and fossilized entire trees. And walking along this one, like the section that is still here is, oh, I see from there all the way back to there. That's 120 feet plus. And of course, probably half the tree is missing. So it's entirely possible these were redwood-sized forests here in northern Arizona. And when whatever volcano it was blew its top, it leveled thousands of square miles. And right there is our first reptile of the trip. Eastern collared lizard. Unfortunately, the camera's bleaching him out a little bit, but from where I'm standing, about 15 feet away, he is a very, very bright green color. This is probably as close as we're going to get to him, so I'm going to get a couple of photos here. If you want to hear more about these guys, check out the first video from New Mexico on the channel. As expected, he ran when I got closer, but got a slightly better shot and different angle. He's gone all dark though, right as I've come up on him. Cool guy. These guys are pretty widespread across the southwest and kind of south central US, because they range over into Oklahoma and Arkansas and such, actually. But they are not as common as many other lizards because these guys eat other lizards. But they are not the biggest of the predatory lizards out here. They are actually one-upped by the leopard lizards, which I have yet to be able to record. Alright, after the one lizard seen in the park, taking a brief stop next to the Little Colorado River, see if anything might be poking around. Kind of doubt it, but we'll kill a little bit of time before the sun finally actually goes down and we start road cruising out here. Looks pretty nice though. Well, it's not a snake, and we gotta move him out of the road because there's somebody coming. But that is a big and very colorful Great Plains toad. Come here, sir. Oh, okay, and the person went a different direction, so we can just kind of help you get off the road. Beautiful, even patterning. That's kind of what distinguishes these guys. Hello, sir. Look at that face. Quite common, but still cool to see nonetheless. Now, most of the Great Plains toads that I've seen are rather brown in coloration, but this guy, along with a couple that I've seen back here in Colorado, was incredibly green. Never fails, these guys just never know how to get out of the road. Mr. Jackrabbit, please move. No, not. That means off the road, not in front of the car again. Sir? Yes, go over there. Thank you. Finally, we've got one. There's a Hopi rattlesnake. Look at you. Let's get the other light out. Oh, we did not get skunked. There's a snakey. Alright. So that would be Hopi rattlesnake number 2. Gonna see if mixing the lights gives us a little better color here. A little bit, actually. So, not as pink as the other one that we got to see, but this is about average size for the ones out here. He's at most maybe 2 feet long and curling up nicely for a pose. So, out in Arizona, these guys are pretty hard to come by because up here in this grassland it is sparse. It's very dry, much drier than the Sonoran Desert on the other side of the mountains. In fact, even just 40 minutes away, once we actually hit the rim and you get the blacktail and Arizona black rattlesnakes, it's a little wetter there and they are a little more plentiful. There's more food. These guys, though, they live in probably one of the harshest environments in Arizona, second to the Colorado desert. Even the summer rains are very, very sparse. There's a little bit of evidence out here of moisture recently, but not a lot, so it's not too surprising this is the only snake we've seen. Anyway, we've gotten a couple of photos. We're going to get a record for a couple other channels here, and then we'll make sure he gets safely off the road. I don't think he's really in much trouble out here because there's nobody else out here, but just to make sure we don't want anybody hitting him. Alright, sir. We just want to make sure that nobody's gonna hit ya, so you were starting to get... Oh, now. I mean, if you're gonna move yourself, that would be nice, but we'll just... I don't know. No, you're going the other way. You were going the other way, come on. Go up the slope. Up the slope. Yeah, you're very snappy, aren't you? No. You're going back on the road, sir. That's not safe for you, okay? Whoops. Come on. Up the road. Look, there's a little hill right here. We just want you up here, okay? Almost there. There he goes. That way, he's not going to get run over, and he'll probably find some better habitat to go hide in. Buzzing away. There's a second one. There's a second one. And I think he's got a meal in him. That's cool. Look at that. That's a good sign. Alright. Alright. Rattlesnake with a food bolus in his belly right there. Number 2 has decided to show up. It's another not very green one. or sorry, not very pink one, but rather greenish. Kind of to be expected right at the foothills here, although once again, similar size. I mean, he's only maybe just over 2 feet long, if that. Anyway, we've already gotten a couple of photos, so we're just kind of watching him get off the road here. You can see, as long as you don't bother them, they're perfectly content to just kind of go and do their own thing. He's got quite a good size rattle on him too compared to the other one. It's a fairly old snake because a lot of those buttons are of similar size. It's not really tapering much. So this guy's broken off his original buttons already and has grown out new ones. What a beautiful snake. And off into the weeds he goes. Would you look at that? We have another snaky. Come here, sir. You're okay. Oh my goodness, you are gorgeous. That's an intergrade like I have never seen before. That is beautiful. Wow. Alright, we'll get the proper light out now. So it's definitely always nice to get at least one snake in a night that I can handle. And this is definitely one that, well, I'd say is absolutely amazing looking. So in this area, the Great Basin and Sonoran gopher snakes, Pituophis, Catenifer, Deserticola, and Aphaenus, intergrade. So, two subspecies of the same species. They recognize each other perfectly well as suitable mates, and so you have gene flow right across the two in this area. And sometimes that creates some really, really interesting looking animals, like this guy, who's got, that's definitely kind of the head pattern of a Great Basin, but the rest of the body, more or less, looks a lot like Sonoran. He's a long, skinny guy. Grab him before he runs off again, so we need to get a few more photos. But this guy will eventually get, if he's lucky to survive all the predators out here, he could get 6 or 7 feet long. 4 to 5 is probably the average, and he'll eat just about anything other than other snakes. They generally don't do that. You can see that beautiful dark tail, nice colors on the back, and of course that weird looking head pattern, which is so cool looking. So, glad to see him out here. Makes for a little more variety tonight too. And it's really cool seeing an intergrade now that I've also seen both of the pure subspecies. And so we'll get a couple of recordings for some other channels here and let him go. No, you can't go in the bag. Camera bag is not for you, sir. Then we'll get him across the road. He was heading the other direction, hunting just like the rattlers are tonight. And probably hunting the same things, little rodents. Look at him. He's so pretty. As far as gopher snakes go, this is definitely one of the best ones I've ever seen, and a great example that often intergrade regions are some of the most interesting areas to find snakes. If you go back a couple of videos on the channel here, you'll see the intergrade black-tailed rattlesnake we found in New Mexico. Just the same, it looked absolutely beautiful. Not quite one or the other species, but kind of a mix right in between. Alright, sir. You were heading this way, so let's get you across the road. You were such a pretty animal. Glad I saw ya. A little dark smooch on the road. Okay, up here. Across, here you go. There you go. Off into the bush. Beautiful. Alright, so I didn't film anything there because I didn't find anything, but I did try and take one last little shot near where I'm staying tonight, because should supposedly be in range for the Arizona mountain kings and black rattlesnakes where I'm at. The canyon that I drove down, it should be in range, although it doesn't have any records of them just yet struck out. But hopefully, though, those guys will be among the animals that we see tomorrow, or in your case, in the next episode, probably next week. So do stick around for that. However, I would say tonight at least, I expected things to be a little slow because up on the Colorado Plateau, it's dry, it's hard to herp in general, so getting 2 Hopi rattlesnakes and 1 gopher is pretty darn good, actually. There's a couple of things that I was really hoping to see that we did not find out there, but most of those things still have a chance for in the coming weeks, so fingers crossed. If you enjoy seeing educational videos like this, going on wildlife adventures and so on, or stuff that I do working with the plants, do consider helping support at patreon.com/hcarlton. Members there get exclusive benefits such as early access to the videos, seed contests, and of course you're helping support maybe me being able to go on these trips, the financial time that it takes to just sit down and edit these videos, because each one takes a couple of hours at minimum. And of course, if you don't want to do a monthly subscription like that, there's always one-time donations that can be taken at Ko-fi. That link will be in the description below the video. You can also buy plants, or sometimes the baby snakes that I have on occasion, resin gem jewelry, at carltoncarnivores.com. You can also access the database and blog there for more informational stuff. And if you can't help financially, then simply liking, commenting on the video here, sharing it, subscribing to the channel, that helps a lot. And of course, if you'd like to see more little photos, tidbits, and short videos and such, find me on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at Carlton Carnivores. But until tomorrow for me, next week for you probably, I'm Hawken Carlton, and this is Carlton Carnivores.